Alrighty, babe. So, Lotta, that I've known for, oh my goodness, since 2014, 2015. This is our 10-year anniversary, I think, that I've known you online. Okay, I am going to listen to your audio again. I listened to it once, but it's a few days ago, so hang on. All right, I moved. So, Lotta, I did listen to your message again, and I hear that you're exhausted, you're a manifesting generator, and you tend to feel a little bit hesitant with getting back into the beautiful work, the healing work, all of that, because you tend to get tired or you tend to have manifested getting really tired. Yeah? So there's a little bit of using your creative power. Like I was telling Jessica about creating balls of light and asking for things. There's a little bit of where you're using your energy to project and propel into the future that same image of sort of defending a memory. This is how it was. This is how it's always been. So when I put myself back in that vision or that movie, I feel afraid it's going to happen again, which makes total sense. So we need to somehow pick up that energy of fear of getting tired, pull it off of your ball of light and like ground it into the garden, ground it into the swirl, into that swirl thingy. Spiral, not a swirl, it's a spiral. But you sort of decide to be like, wait, it's always been that way. But it's kind of like if you think about a child who's like, Mom, every time I go to school, any school I go to, it's always a disaster. I never feel like people see me. Like she has a whole story about how it is for her to go to school, right? But if you give me a couple of weeks with that little girl or even a couple of days, I would say, okay, we need to delete everywhere that's ever been true for you. Everywhere it's ever been true for you that you always get exhausted. Everywhere it's always been true and da 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 da, we make the whole thing an untruth. Okay, we delete it, uncreate, transmute it. We really take that ego, old, low frequency fear out of your energy and we just cleanse it. And then when you push your heart out and you really focus on your heart's desire for this, you'd be like, I'm a manifesting generator. I have the motors to do so much in this world. Like you literally have the motor. You probably have, are you a sacral manifesting generator? But whatever you are, you're going to have more energy than most people. Like if you're a projector, I would say you're going to need to leverage your genius, but you're a manifesting generator. You can have 8 businesses running at once. So we got to be careful where we are defending a memory and we're afraid of being right again and not deleting the story. You've got to delete the patterns in the story. So if there's something holding you back, it would be conditioning and it would be stories. So like conditioning, for example, is like, oh, the only way I can make my business work is if I work really, really hard. Is that the ultimate truth? Does it feel good? So the truth will feel good. It will be like, I allow 10 new clients to find me with ease and they love finding me and it's effortless. And that feels truer than, oh, I'm going to have to work so hard to get there and it's going to be so difficult. That is conditioning. That's projection. It is like a pattern, right? I don't know if you saw my post I channeled this post on patterns versus intuition. And pattern is like the mind loves to repeat patterns. So we see patterns in nature. We see patterns in stories. Kids are like, Mom, read me the same book for 3 weeks. We're reading the same story to our kids every night. And if we change one thing, they'll know. Wait, Mom, that's not what happened. You skipped a line. They'll know. Because the mind wants repetition and it wants patterns. It wants to, okay, dinner, bath, read a book, go to bed. Every day, repeat. Every day, repeat. Like, you're a mom, Lotta, right? So the mind is like, well, every time Lotta has tried to do this, she was tired. Can we repeat the pattern? Because at least we feel safe. We're going to repeat the pattern, right? It's like, with marriage or relationship for some, it's like, well, every time she gets into a relationship, this is what happens. So let's make that happen again. Because that's a pattern. We like patterns. We love repetition because it's familiar. So what you want to do here is research and clean up Okay, so the guidance coming in, so this was me reading your energy and sort of seeing if I were your business mentor helping you manifest your business, that would definitely be what we would need to clean up for you to be in your powerhouse, selfless, strong, faithful, like for you to be at, like for you to get over yourself and let your business launch, we would need to clean that projection and that fear so you could experience a whole new pattern and a whole new start. Okay. But now if I look at the cards, it's more about, I feel like as a manifesting generator, there's more you could look into. And there are some aspects maybe of your human design and where the planets are and the gates you have on different planets, where maybe we need to move you out of the shadow of those gates into the higher frequency. Just learning how to move through the low frequency will help you have way more energy. So it's this it's the spectrum of consciousness for gene keys. You can Google it, gene keys spectrum of consciousness. And per certain gates, you have the low frequency, and then there's a way to absorb, transmute those to move and live and embody a higher frequency, where you have endless creativity, you have endless ideas, and it flows through you, and it's not coming from you. It flows through you, it's not coming from you. Okay, so that's more the research card. There's a little bit of new awareness and understanding you need, and also this is you realizing, oh, I keep, like, there's a bookshelf, and when you try to have a business, you pick the same book. It has a few more pages in it, but it's the same book. You haven't changed the beginning, the middle, or the end, right? So that's for you to see it, name it, and transmute it. The marriage card came up, and I feel like, oh, this is the wife. I get it. So sometimes we've had such anchored roles, like we were wives or mothers, like really for a long, long time, decades, right? That when we try to bring in a new archetype, like a business owner or a CEO or a visionary or a leader, there isn't enough room. It's like the mother or the wife takes a lot of room. And the way you know that she takes a lot of room is you look at what you do all day and everything you do, from brushing your teeth to going to bed at night, everything you do. And you can tell which archetype dominates your day-to-day life based on what you do, because you are what you do. So, and sometimes that's more for your habits and things, but when the wife is really strong in your psyche, even if you're no longer married, even if blah blah blah, the wife is going to be like, I can't run my business, that's my husband's role. I can't run my own business, I can't make my own money, that's my father's role. Like, you know, when we have other people who were there for us financially, it can be a money block. So again, it's back to research and rewriting the freaking story. There is a course I sometimes offer. It's called Next Level, or it's on all the archetypes, and you explore all of the archetypes that are keeping you in thing one. I call it thing one and thing two, like in Dr. Seuss books, thing one and thing two, and they take up a lot of the space in the subconscious, and they tend to be like, oh, you don't get to have that, you got to stay over here. So an example I kind of give a lot to my clients and to my listeners is Beatrice Rosen, who has been a friend of mine forever. She's lived in LA when I lived in LA, so we became friends. She's French and American like me, and she was an actress, and I would read for her psychically, and I would tell her which movies she was going to get, and she sometimes did not believe me. She was like, but they just told me I didn't get the part. I'm like, trust me, you got the part. Like, this was for Batman in 2012. She got to be in both of those movies. And every time I was like, oh, you're in it, you're going to get it. And she was like, no, I'm not. They called me saying I didn't get the part. I'm like, you're going to get the part. And so she got the part. But that was me getting like a psychic download for her. And 15 years later, maybe 20 years later, she's like, I'm a mom, I have 2 kids. I cannot get any kind of work. Hollywood won't hire me anymore. And I can't work. And she's still beautiful. And I said, you're blocking it. Your subconscious is blocking it. And what was blocking her was her mother archetype, who did not want her to leave her little kids to go work in Canada for 3 months to shoot a film, or to just leave at all, right? We did this work on archetypes, and the very next freaking day, the #1 television station in France called her to interview her on a previous movie she had made. So now she's back, literally on TV the next, well, not the next day, but they booked her, they called her the next day, and she literally was like, I literally fell off my chair when they called me. She's like, how did you make that happen? Well, it's your subconscious. So we made it that it was safe for her subconscious to receive acting and stay a mom. We made it okay for her to do both. Does that make sense? And sometimes until you know how to speak between those two parts, one of them is going to be dominant and block the dream of the other one, okay? Which is what's kind of going on with you, Lotta, is the resistance is creating a lot of fatigue. The resistance is like, let's go have a business. We want to be a healer, which you did get the healer card. This is healed, healer. It's in French, but yeah, it's the healer card. Let's go and help. Let's go. And then this other part's like, no, we're not. Go back. So that energy of like, no, we're not is what's also exhausting. Okay. So you want to find out what this dominant part is afraid of if you were to get the dream of this one. Why can the dreams coexist? 99% of the time they can coexist. But until we decide it, we have to rewrite it. So for Eva, for example, before she started to sell more packages as an RTT and really back-to-back packages, having a waiting list of people before she went on vacation, it was, you are a mom who sells packages. And then she was like, oh, let's go. Like, I can totally get behind that. I'm a mom who sells packages. I can get behind that. I don't have to be like a CEO or whatever. So that's how it happened, love, okay? And so I think this is more of the wife marriage, honoring the marriage, honoring your relationship with the masculine. Sort of, there's some stuff going on with how does the masculine show up through my business and in my personal life. But when you get over yourself, ladies, like when you just get over you as the one who needs to do, you're not the doer, as the one who needs to figure it all out. Like if you watch Jessica's reading and you just are a bright light and you call things in with your heart, everything you do is in devotion and service to that calling, to the dream. You don't have to be in your masculine to have a successful business because your heart's going to magnetize clients to you and it's going to feel like really organic and really natural and really normal. So, we live in a hustle culture. We, on Instagram, on Facebook, I'm like inundated with business stuff, marketing stuff, and coaching stuff. But I've had a business for over 16 years. And at the very beginning, my angels were like, do not learn anything on marketing. Did I get, I still got trapped in it. They were like, do not get sucked in that. We will always bring you people. We will always help you. And I sold out of retreats, sold out of classes just by staying in that selflessness and that service place. And people did word of mouth and people, things take off when you're not trying to control the whole thing. You just got to trust that things are going to be taken care of and, let go and move into faith and positivity and move into like I was doing for Jessica, like the end result has freaking manifested and to feel it, call it in and be aligned with it. Now, if you're not, let it go for a few days. Like if you can't visualize that end result, like there's a couple things in my life currently where I'm not able to hold that blissful end result with unconditional love because there's stuff that I need to clean up. There's stuff I need to process. Like I still need to maybe heal some things and then I'll be back and be able to hold it and call it in again. The next version, like let's say I call in a relationship, right? He manifests, like I was telling you guys for greed. Oh, I call in 6 figures. Oh my God, it manifested. What do I do now? Like, this is scary, right? So now you have to go, wait a minute, I need to do no thing until I can call in the next thing. Because now that this came, what's over here? And unless you call the next thing in, you could lose this. So if I call in a guy, meet the beautiful guy, we meditate together, we go on spiritual retreats together, and we're very heart-centered together. We go to church together, we pray together. Everything I've ever wanted manifests. Now is like, well, can my nervous system handle this? Wait, what's going on? And then all the ecosystem of beliefs can come back up, right? That loop can come back up. So that's okay. But now I have to call in the next thing, right? Like the deepening the relationship, seeing us maybe grow and create something, and or move through conversations and move into deeper trust and deeper surrender? And do we have some uncomfortable conversations, but how can I visualize the end result and feel the end result of something that maybe I didn't even know I needed to ask? See, that's the thing, ladies, is in this sort of continuum, it's like we know how to ask for a perfect weekend with friends, right? But then, or maybe that's not a good example. So we know how to call in the thing, but there are chapters that you need to add to your requests. Like, it's not how do I make it happen again? It's like, oh, it happened. Let's create that to be really solid. And now how do I call in next? Now that that's foundations you create your website. How do I now create people seeing the website? How do I now feel into podcasts? How do I now feel into visibility and sales and using my voice? Does that make sense? So sometimes, I mean, it would be great to share in the WhatsApp group, but it's really about fleshing out, scripting, writing, contemplating, dreaming the next iteration of you as you're manifesting, which would be so freaking cool, right? So, hey guys, I called this in and manifested. Okay, I can trust this. Now, can I call this in? And can I feel it as pure, with as much purity and intention and selflessness and magic and just, as I've called everything else in? And it did manifest. So I'm on the right track to really also call that in. Let me know if that resonates. Love you, ladies. I will see you soon. I will definitely see you soon. I'm going to put that in my ball of light.